There's been a ton of new updates and new information released in the Idaho 4 case, and we're going to be talking about some of those, and specifically the 911 phone call in today's video. Hello, Sub Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there somewhere. My name's Paul. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul. If you're not new to the channel, well, my name's still Paul. Now today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Idaho 4 case. This has been one that I've been following in the background for quite some time. I've made content here and there on it when like major happenings and whatnot come about. This has been one of the things that so many people have hit me up over, and that I'm just like, wow, okay, we're getting more information coming out. So I wanted to do a video to get all my thoughts out on it. So what we will be doing is we'll be doing some like quick overviews kind of stuff for anyone in my channel that's not familiar with the case, and then we'll be jumping into some of those updates, but specifically that 911 phone call, as well as like text messages, things like that. So let's do a little bit of an overview first. So the Bryan Kohberger Idaho 4 murder case, this revolves around the absolutely brutal killings of 4 University of Idaho students. We have Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan. Now November 13th, 2022, they lived in an off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho. It has since been torn down. They were stabbed to death in their sleep at the end of like a kind of a night out doing stuff, whatever, with a large knife. No real signs of forced entry. And Bryan Kohberger, a Ph.D. student in criminology at Washington State University, which is fairly near, he was arrested eventually in 2022 in Pennsylvania. He had gone back to where his parents are. Now authorities linked him to the crime through like DNA that they found on a knife sheath. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Cell phone data, surveillance footage of his car, stuff at the neighbor's house, you name it, okay? They had tons of stuff they got him on. Now, he has not been convicted. He has not gone to trial yet, so keep that in mind. He has pleaded not guilty. Now, the trial has faced multiple delays, okay? Allegedly, we are on the eve of it, meaning sometime this year, August, I believe, is when it's supposed to go up. The prosecutors, number one, are seeking the death penalty. His defense has several reasons, obviously, why they don't want this to happen. Lack of direct evidence. They say, Bryan's on the spectrum, all sorts of stuff that they're trying to get the death penalty off of the table. So that's like a very quick overview of it, okay? This case is very complicated, very deep, very tragic, and very long and ongoing, but that gives you the nuts and bolts of how we arrived today. And like I said, there's several updates that have come out, and I mostly want to focus on that released 911 phone call. Now, there has been a new judge in the case. This new judge has been more transparent as far as like with motions and evidence and things like that. So some of the things that have come out recently, like for example, like DNA evidence, okay? So there's touch DNA on the knife sheath that was left that links back to Bryan, although it has been suggested that this could have been planted by somebody else. Now we also learned that Madison, one of the victims, had several, I call them samples of DNA beneath her fingernails. Now the defense is also saying, well, this suggests that others could be involved. Also, we have seen the release of text message passages, not the whole thing yet, as well as this 911 phone call. So what I want to do is look at those text messages real quick and read through those, and then we'll go on to the next thing, because I believe that will give us a little bit of context before we get to the actual 911 phone call. Now remember, I said there's 4 victims in the Idaho 4 case, right? So 2 of the roommates, they did survive, okay? And that's going to be the text messages that we're going to look at here. Now, one of their names is Dylan, one of their names is Bethany, but they are referred to, as you'll see on the screen, DM and BF. Okay, so that's who we're dealing with. Now I'm just going to be looking at my notes over here. So we'll start off at the very top here, okay? So DM to BF, it says no one is answering. DM to BF, I'm really confused right now. Now I'll also be speaking like in what the things means at our end is right now. So the next one that we see is DM texting Kaylee. Okay, so she says, Kaylee. And then again, what's going on? Now, obviously she's not getting any answers. So BF to DM, yeah, dude, WTF, what the, Zana was wearing all black. And then DM to BF, I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like ski mask almost. And then BF to DM, shut the F up, actually. Then DM to BF, like he had something over his forehead and a little in mouth. So obviously there's some mistyping here. DM to BF, I'm not kidding. Oh, I'm so freaked out. BF to DM, so am I. DM to BF, my phone is going to die. Blank. And then BF to DM, come to my room, run, down here. Again, that's all we have here. Okay, so first of all, going back up here, so as we've learned by now, obviously, somebody saw, whoever it was, right? Brian's not been convicted, okay? So somebody saw the dude wearing this, okay? And that's what you see going on here right now. You also see the whole timeline, or not the timeline, but trying to reach out to the victims who were deceased or incapacitated at this time. Some of the things I've seen in comment sections and whatnot, talking like, number one, you're listening to college students talking college talk. So like when she says actually, that's just like, it's almost like being like for me, I'd be like, no, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, kind of thing. We all know, for the most part, what STFU means, shut the you-know-what up, which is just like being like, shut up, no, like, close the front door. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Shut the front door, that. What we can gather from this is that clearly they saw something. One of them saw the dude with the ski mask. We know that there's like a direct, they're lucky they lived, right? So they see this. They're trying to call roommates. They know something's going on. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to shame this, that, whatever, right? We're just going through kind of what we know. Then obviously the phone's going to die. She's saying, come right over here. Now, let's very quickly look at a little screenshot of a timeline. Now, the way this article has done it, so like say if the call came in at 11:58 a.m., the 911 phone call, it says 12, okay? So just know that they kind of rounded things off here, but it's just a very simplistic timeline for this purpose. On the screen here, you see 4 a.m. suspect arrives at house. Between 4 and 4:17, time of murders. 4:19, roommate calls 3 victims, no one answers. 4:22 to 4:24, surviving roommates text each other from inside house. We just looked through some of that. Roommate calls victims again, no one answers. 4:27. 4:32, roommate texts Kaylee, please answer. 10:23, surviving roommate texts victims, no one answers. 11:39, roommate calls her father. 12 o'clock, which is 11:58 a.m., a 911 call plays from the roommate's phone. This is the timeline here. Now what I want to do is get to that 911 phone call. So we're going to be hearing several people on the phone. We're going to be watching and listening to the phone call through News Nation, Ashley Banfield. Be sure and follow her if you don't. They're great. I love them. I love Ashley. I've met her. She's super cool, super nice. They have the text message, the transcription or whatever up on the screen, so I really like the way they did it. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about that and the text messages after we watch that.
911 location of your emergency.
Something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
I want to pause there for a second. One thing I've seen a lot of talk of is people are really upset with the 911 phone call operator, dispatcher, or whatever. I see this go a couple of ways in the comment section. Yes, I do think that they are very flat. They're just trying to get information. They do show signs of frustration. They do lack any level of, I don't know how you would say it, like whether it's compassion or warmth, almost like we're going to try and get you help, but I need that addressed, that type thing. So a lot of people are really upset with the operator in this. And I noticed that too, or whatever. The lack of that, I don't even know what you would call it. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. But when you hear Dylan in the beginning, it says, oh no, don't. I feel like at that point, and I'm very curious to hear y'all's breakdown of the phone call too in the comment section. Okay, I've gone down a rabbit hole on people's interpretations of this. Okay, so she's saying, oh no, don't. And she's very upset, extremely upset, right? And I'm talking like bad off upset. You can hear it in her voice. I think when she's saying, oh no, don't, that's the neighbor coming over, and she's possibly like being like, no, don't go in there. You know what I mean? Which then brings you to the thing of like, okay, did they already see something at that point? What was seen and whatnot? Now, let's continue and we'll pause along the way and talk about a few more things.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
It's redacted.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
Okay, so pause. So the neighbor is saying, okay, one of the roommates has passed out. She's drunk. She's not waking up. You hear Dylan, no, they saw a man in the house last night. So again, we'll get more into like what I think is taking place or whatever. At minimum, Dylan sounds incredibly upset that she saw something and feels like, oh my God, something really bad took place and it's all crashing down right now in this moment, right? Because she's super upset in it. And there's that blank space of time between like the last like correspondence we see and then the first phone calls coming out from her phone, right? Where she's calling like people and her dad and stuff like that. Okay, so let's keep going.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
Okay, pause right here. So this is one thing where people get really upset with the dispatcher, like, I need someone to whatever. It's and I don't know what you call it, bedside manner or whatever. It's the way that the dispatcher kind of comes off. They're trying to get information and the phone's being passed around. They're trying to do their job. There's just nothing there. There's no compassion, right? Now, granted, am I looking for like warm, cheery hugs in a state of emergency? I do want to get, things going and paramedics or whatever needs to happen fast. But I would also personally not like to feel like I'm being scolded, right? Unnecessarily. Now, when Dylan says, can I just tell you what happened pretty much? This is my interpretation on that. I think she's saying that because I'm somebody who will be like, and I don't know how to explain this, but in this situation, I would probably say something the same thing because I feel like I'm getting kind of chastised and given all these parameters. And I'm like, I just need to tell you what happened in my own words. Quit, like, almost like it's a nice way of being like, would you shut up and let me tell you what happened? Like, I'm just going to speak. Don't interrupt me. I need to barf this information out on you. That's what I felt like she was saying. Because I literally have said the same thing. Like, can I just say this? Like, basically, can I just tell you? I probably didn't say it in the videos, right? Let's keep going.
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but you gotta go check.
Okay, so the dispatcher, and again, this is what the dispatcher's trying to get at, which is where I think the frustration from the dispatcher comes, because they're trying to find out what is they still don't know exactly what's going on. They still haven't gotten confirmation. They know someone's passed out or drinking or whatever. So there's that. Now you heard Dylan say, I still don't really know what's going on. And she's like, okay, we're going to go check. So this tells me now at this point, it almost sounds like, well, we're going to go back in there. Now remember, a friend, we're getting ready to hear his name or his voice come into the picture here in the next screens. He has come over. Okay, we're going to also hear from one of the victim's fathers about what he feels like after he talked to this gentleman. Because I agree with what one of the victim's father is saying about this. So just keep this in mind that all these moving parts are going on at this point. So here comes this dude. She doesn't really know. Here we're going to go in. So I feel like now what has happened is this male. So it just says male on the thing. A male has arrived. Obviously, it's like the female next door neighbor, the female roommates. So the male has come over. They are going to maybe all enter the house now. This is how I interpret this.
But we have to. Did you pass out? What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Gives me goosebumps, y'all. This, oh my gosh. So this part right here is what I'm envisioning. The male is at the door. He's knocking on it. Okay. The girl, Dylan at minimum is there, whether the other person's there or whatever, but we know Dylan's on the phone, she's there. She's probably standing back. He's knocking on the door, boom, boom, boom. What's going on? What's going on? This is serious. Now the father, one of the gentlemen who we're gonna hear from in a minute, he's like, look, this dude thought he was getting pranked. You gotta remember, these are college kids. They're pranking each other. They're doing this. He's coming in here thinking he's getting pranked. Now he probably could tell the level of upsetness, like what's going on? Again, probably for the people who are entering this, like him, the next door neighbor, all this, who weren't privy to the dude with the ski mask and all this type of stuff, you're not expecting the carnage that these people are about to walk into, okay? It's literally the last thing. Even if you thought somebody's in your house, you're not expecting what they're about to see. So, just to recap, in my world, I'm envisioning he's knocking on the door, boom, boom, boom. She's on the phone, upset. Oh my God, she's not waking up. She's passed out. Let's keep going.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, again, goosebumps. At this point, he is, and this is just my opinion, he has gotten into the door. This man has seen pure carnage, okay? He is probably digesting it. I don't know what I would do in that moment. I've never seen that. I pray to God I never do. I hope I never have to experience something like this. He is seeing this, and then he's trying, get out, let's go. And you hear, okay, now we're going to keep going in a second. So all he knows is get out, right? He has seen blood everywhere, all this crazy stuff, right? So at this point, it's their go. And like something is truly, this ain't a prank. This isn't we drink too much and we're not waking up. This is incredibly serious stuff going on.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 here to
Okay.
Hello?
Now, at this point, again, I can completely see why, because she's probably realizing for him, he's seen what happened. You need to talk to him. You know what's going on more.
Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Hey, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay.
Okay, so you hear the rest of it. Now, the male will say, they need you to talk to him. I personally think he's completely freaked out. He is probably in shock. He is probably like whatever. And then he has this, dispatcher yelling at him to stop passing the phone around, right? This is the part where it's just like, okay, these kids are really upset. I get that they needed the information. I was surprised at the point, again, if you know how if you are a dispatcher yourself, I'm curious to hear your feedback on this, because it's obviously easy for me from the sofa who doesn't do this to say, well, I think they should have been nicer or whatever, right? I mean, I've never done this before, but I'm curious to know, like, when the dispatcher finally said we're sending someone out, in my world, I'm like, you haven't already sent somebody out? Like, regardless, like, you can tell that something's going on in this 911 phone call. Why didn't we do this immediately? Or maybe they did and they just said it at that point. I don't know, okay? But I do know that's just like her tone, where it truly struck me as like, girl, chill, was when she got snippy with him. Because at this point, I'm like, just send the thing. Something really bad is going on here. People are freaking out on the phone. We're past chastising, okay? But that's here nor there or whatever, right? I don't know what it's like from a dispatcher's point of view, and it might be like, look, you got to do this and whatever. So I do not know. I do think that the male voice, I'm not using his name in here, but his name's kind of been put out there already, but whatever. I'm sure we'll hear from him in trial if it goes to trial. He saw the carnage. He saw it was horrible. He tells everybody to get out. I think he was doing that to kind of protect everybody else. And we'll also hear from the gentleman we're about to hear, he kind of echoes the same thing. So on that note, let's go ahead and listen to this interview. Again, this is for Ashley Banfield. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but just a little bit of it, and then we'll talk about it at the end.
I'm joined now by by Steve Goncalves. He lost his daughter, Kaylee, that tragic morning. Steve, I know that mercifully that the authorities gave you that tape before the rest of us. You've had some time. But beyond that, I don't know how, after 2.5 years of gag order, this landed with you. I don't know if this was more painful, more elucidating, a bitter pill. Tell me how you're coping with this at this point.
I'm a father, so it's not, my emotions are really my children and my wife. So I would say that they feel like they're slowly drowning, and I'm the guy that's trying to help them stay from drowning. And these slow leaks, this torturous process that we're going through, they've done a better job. They've responded to our feedback. We have said, hey, the 911 call is not something that we want to turn on TV and actually see. So they have responded. They have done a better job of, this is a community that doesn't know what murder is. They don't have any clue how to handle, public relations. It just doesn't really exist. So we're getting through it together, and it's hard to say it's getting better, but they are communicating, and we're trying to protect our children and protect all the families and protect the survivors to make sure that we don't have these trolls that are attacking them for no reason.
Did you get any clarity? Did you learn anything or any epiphanies when you listened to the call?
Yes. I mean, I always wanted it to make more sense. Like any murder, your brain wants to gravitate towards make this make sense, make this make sense. But the truth is, murder never makes sense. This is a psychopathic person who does something that breaks the norm of all of our consciousness. All of our minds are just struggling with the fact that this has happened. So we can logically try to make it make sense, but it's not really going to make sense. It's not Hollywood, where they try to make it all fit together. In real life, you're just sitting there dumbfounded, like, why can somebody be killed in their bedroom? How does that make sense?
You mentioned in a statement today that you think Hunter Johnson protected those girls. Listen, I don't know what happened, but I'm trying to piece this together like a puzzle, and it sure feels like he knew something and he protected Bethany from knowing. Do you think that he went up to the third floor and may have seen what happened to Kaylee and Maddie and therefore said, get out, get out, get out, but did not tell Bethany and did not tell Dylan?
I talked to Hunter directly, and it sucks. He had a broken soul. This is a man who's seen his best friend dead, dying, like gone. So we exchanged a moment, and I talked to him, and he was trying to protect everyone in that house to not go through what was overwhelming him at the moment. So I don't know about the details of upstairs, downstairs, door open, door not. But in the bigger picture, does it really matter? He was literally just responding to what he probably thought was a prank, thinking his friend, his best buddy, had these girls rolling. And he showed up there, and he seen the opposite of a prank. And I seen it in his eyes. He was broken. He was very broken from what he had seen.
So as you hear from him, very well spoken about his thoughts on all of it, right? And I tend to agree with what he's saying. I mean, he spoke to Hunter, that's the kid's name, or the young man, I should say, he saw his best friend slaughtered, right? He saw a carnage scene and was protecting everybody to get out. That's my opinion. But again, like Ashley said, I wasn't there. I don't know. But my interpretation of it is just that, is that he saw something and he's like, get out, get out, get out. Like, this is now deadly serious. Gives me goosebumps. And again, like he said, like he thought that his best friend was like pranking him. And he was going to go over and he had the girls all messed up and this and the other. And they're probably doing whatever, right? Zero concept or clue that of what he walked into. Okay, so let's kind of just round this out now with some overall thoughts. Overall, I will say this: if this goes to trial, right, because we're still, anything can happen. If this goes to trial, we're able to get answers. We're able to hear these people on the stand. For me, that is the context that I will need to answer a lot of questions. I wasn't there. I didn't know the victims. I don't know the survivors. I don't know the parents. I don't know the investigators. So I can only sofa speculate on a lot of things, and like looking at it from hindsight in the comfort of the sofa in the context of, well, maybe I would have done this or maybe I would have done that. Like, I don't know what I would do in this situation. I pray I never have to answer that question. I hope nobody else does either. Because when I'm saying this, because I see so much talk about like, well, what about this and what about that? And why did they do this? And why did they do this? And blah, 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 blah. We will not know until it goes to trial. One thing that I so often see with pretty much every case that we see is there's like tons of speculation, and then it goes to trial, and so much of the speculation is usually answered pretty quickly. Now, sometimes it's not, or sometimes it's answered and it's not the answer that people want to hear, right? This could go multiple ways, you know, to get the answer to why wasn't 911 called earlier? Why wasn't something done in this context? Like, we're not going to know unless those people get on the stand and kind of say, this was my train of thought with this. You know, I don't even know. You know, listening to the phone call, I do think they're upset. You know, I do think there's that. The text messaging, I feel like it shows there's definitely worry. There's something like, hey, this isn't right. And I said this in the live chat too. If you have ever lived in or been to or familiar with houses like this, right? And it depends on the level. Like, they were living in this house in Idaho, but it was like several roommates in one house, and kind of like college row, frat row, whatever. I'm not sure what it's called in Idaho, but that's what they call like here, like UNC and places like that, or like UF down in Gainesville. You know, when you're in these houses, it's like depending on how many people are living there, there's like 4 different lives going on. So you're very used to seeing other people, right? And you're very used to 24 hours a day stuff is typically going on. Now, it's quite clear that something took place. You know, in the text messaging, there is a definite level of, I am concerned over a person with a ski mask. Like, I'm scared, right? Now, we will find out in trial why at that point maybe something wasn't done. My understanding is a few factors are in play, and these are just, you know, my opinion on some of these. Number one, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, police have been like, hey, look, if we basically do like another report out to your house, you're going to be in trouble on some level, right? Also, these are young people. I'm guessing they could have had things in the house that they were afraid cops to find, but I don't know. They were out doing stuff, drinking, all this kind of stuff. They might have just been kind of inebriated. It could have been as simple as like, I don't know what's going on. I'm really scared. Okay, look, just, you know, maybe it'll be better when we wake up, right? I mean, we don't know. Okay, it is $1 million question, but I will wait for a trial to happen. The most recent trial that came about that made me realize this was Megan Boswell, where there's so many things going on about this and the other that very quickly we found out in the trial and during the trial. And it was like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. But again, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but we'll have to wait to see the evidence. There is plenty of stuff, just as we've seen with this 911 phone call, that they have that they're not releasing to the public. So it just leaves a vacuum for people to fill the void. But anyways, I am so curious about your theory on the 911 phone call, on the text messaging. What do you think they saw or didn't see, the whole 9 yards? I have lived in the comment sections, like watching, right, reading them kind of a thing, right, recently since this came out. So I'm curious to see what you think. I'm going to have to Christina Randall the comment section. Please be kind. Please be nice in the comment section. This is a very volatile case. At the heart of this, 4 young people were brutally murdered when when they were at the brink, just starting off their lives, right? It's absolutely tragic. And my heart breaks for them, the survivors, the parents, everyone affected by this. Hopefully justice will come soon and answers will come soon as well. And the trial will go through in August and we'll find out who, what, when, where, and all that type of stuff. So that being said, please let me know what you think in the comment section while you are down there. If you could, drop some sofas off for Roscoe and Spirit, Bo and Luke, and the rest of the Sofa Squad so we can all hang out, talk about all these cases we talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way on down there to do that, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.